Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Lund. Uh, my company is Real Estate Surgeon. I'm a real estate agent with Stepstone Realty. We have with us today Mr. Robert Bragg of Bio Realtors and one of our favorite clients, Bobby, who we had a special experience together. And the reason for this interview today is we're going to relive together some of the experiences we had as we were helping Bobby to accomplish a short sale. A short sale, if you are not familiar with what this is where a house gets to a situation where the point that it can be sold at, the price point, is not enough to cover all the debt. And so it's necessary to negotiate with the lender to uh, to make that happen. So, Bobby, this was a kind of stressful time in your life, as I recall. Uh, I mean, financially, it was difficult because there had been a change of health in a family member that had changed that family member's ability to earn an income. You had to become a caregiver for this family member, and there were a lot of things that happened with that. Can you tell us just at a high level kind of what happened there?
We moved in about 3 years after we moved into the house. My husband got really sick, multiple health problems. Our youngest son lived with us at the time, and he actually had to quit his full-time job to be the primary caregiver for his dad. I worked from home, but even though I was home, I couldn't always just drop what I'm doing
Yeah,
to
yeah.
go take care of my husband because I might be in the middle of a meeting or something important. So our youngest son left his job to stay home, take care of dad. So that cut our income. Basically, a third of my income, the household income, went away.
Wow.
And
Wow.
then because of all the health problems and the associated things with it, finances just got fell further and further behind
Yeah.
until it became the point where it was either we pay the mortgage or we pay the bills and buy food. You couldn't do both.
Yeah, right. And I hope what anyone who hears this story realizes, I think sometimes we hear such stories and we say, well, that happened to someone else. What you just shared could happen to any of us, right? That
Oh
could
yeah,
happen to
we
anyone,
never
right?
thought that would have happened to us.
I can't even tell you how eye-opening it has been for me to realize, first of all, life is precious. I mean, it it can change in a moment, and our financial situation can change on at any moment. So um, I talk to people all the time who never would have believed that these stories could have happened to them. So let's talk a little bit about some of the logistics here. So you had a foreclosure date, and a number of things were attempted to try to forestall that foreclosure because the lender will not start a foreclosure if it's too close to a foreclosure date. You were successful in getting that stopped, and so that was great. Um, Mr. Bragg and I had worked together years ago. I was just recounting with you after Hurricane Harvey. I had a house that I was trying to sell in the area in Dickinson, and that's Robert's beat. And I knew him from that. I knew he was a superhero. And so I'm up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Robert's down there. And I talked to him about your situation, and he said he'd be able to help. So um, we won't talk about the name of your lender at the time, but at times it was challenging to work with them, if you recall.
Yes, we'd actually had done a loan modification.
Yeah.
The first time we applied, they actually screwed up the modification and made it null and void. We went through the 3 month process, and they dropped the ball somewhere, and we ended up having to reapply. So by the time we finally got the loan modification approved, it actually only dropped my loan about $30 a month, my mortgage, which that's not going to help.
That doesn't help.
Originally it would have dropped it about 300, and that would have actually allowed us to have kept the house.
Yeah, yeah,
But $30 a month, that's, coffee money.
yeah.
It's not going to change anything.
Loan modifications, I have found they will market it as a consumer relief package, but it's really always in the interest of the lender. They always, I mean, if it works for you, great, that's great, but they're not doing it out of charity.
Yeah. So once we got into the foreclosure process, we were, you know, trying to work with them. We were trying to get information on, because we had found a realtor. We were trying to get the information we needed on payouts and all that stuff, and they wouldn't work with us. They wouldn't give us the information. They would refer us to the attorney that they were using. The attorney wouldn't give us the information. They wouldn't call us back. I ended up actually having to find like a corporate number for this company on the
Wow,
East
what a
Coast to
pain.
track down this person that's supposed to be handling our foreclosure case. And then I still didn't get the information. I mean, it was
Wow.
just one giant runaround after another.
Yeah,
For and we went through three different realtors trying
yeah.
to help us, or that we talked to about helping us, before I found y'all.
Well, let's talk to the realtor in this, Mr. Bragg.
Yes, yes, sir.
So, Robert, what was it like? So you came and you saw the property,
Yeah,
and most of the folks who came to see the property, would you say most of them uh, were they looking to live in the house themselves, or they looking to buy it for like an investment kind of
right.
opportunity? How did that turn out?
Yeah, I'd say probably 95% or more it was investors looking at the property. So investors always are looking to rehab, and I'd say at least half or more are looking to flip the property. The other portion are looking to hold and rent. Uh,
Yeah.
so those that are looking to buy and flip are immediately trying to build in a profit into that value of what they're
Yes.
paying for it. So that's part of the challenge is helping the short sell or the current mortgage company is fully comprehend why offers are low
Right.
is
Yes.
because the company or the individual or the buyer is immediately looking to build profit into their purchase price.
That's
I've
right.
heard I've heard investors say your profit's made when you buy the property
That's
because they
correct.
know what it's going to take to maybe do a rehab or get a property up ready for a resale. And so that's what those investors, that's the challenge is really trying to present an offer that the short sale lender will look at, and then they're going to tell you what their bottom line is and trying to
Yes.
get back to work with the actual buyer. And that's where you stepped in and handle all that communication with the short sale lender, letting them know where that offer is. So that was awesome work you were doing.
Yeah. And one thing that I was really impressed with, Robert, is the lender gave us a very aggressive timeline to come up with an offer. Like, in order to get the short sale done, give us an offer or no deal.
Mhm.
And Mr. Bragg came through on that. So um, I remember also, Robert, the day that a key part of this is the lender will send out an appraiser to look at the house.
Yeah,
And you actually met that appraiser at the house, and the appraiser had a bit of an attitude,
a little bit. Yeah.
a little bit. He didn't think you had anything to offer him.
Well, because this appraiser is there to represent the lien holder,
Yes,
not there to appraise for a buyer. So we have to come in with a whole different approach in that scenario. And you have to be with that appraiser because the appraiser's just going to kind of look at it and go, oh, everything's normal. This home should sell at, your typical home market value. But So they don't get into just some of the details that you really got to get into. And so really I'm there to point out the faults that are going to cost money to this investor and try to
Right.
help this appraiser get a true value. Now, if we're there with, it's kind of different, right? If you're there with a buyer's appraiser, then we're going to try to show everything that helps that appraiser
Right.
come up with a higher value. So this is a little different scenario. We're there with the lien holder, and we really want to get that appraisal down as low as possible so that this offer we're getting has a better chance of meeting this new value that in the lien holder's mind is what they want. And
And
so
it's
we get
actually in
that
the,
appraisal down and get this buyer up, we can get them together and meet in the middle. And that's where you come up, that's where the challenge is.
yeah,
Uh, So yeah, when
that's
I met with
actually in the
that,
interest of the seller in that case. So
right,
that's actually what helped us to get it done.
yeah,
We had to work hard at that. We did have a buyer who was kind of demanding uh, in some ways, and um, there was to communicate because short sales are something that a lot of people haven't done in a long time.
right.
And so there were some communication issues helping everyone to understand, including the agent to understand what needed to happen there. And so um, we did some negotiation and they were finally coming across with that. Um, I know for you, Bobby, there was some drama as we were getting closer to the end there. And I don't mean to, you know, I know it's a painful story, but you, your primary objective, you have to take care of your family, right? And so you were in a different location. Um, you were moving back and forth between your house and the place where you were living, and some things came up missing all of a sudden.
Yeah,
And that was like it wasn't insignificant.
no.
It was not insignificant. Um, so there were, I mean, you had that's something also that people need to be aware of. So when you move out of a house and you're going back and forth, um, there can be some stresses that come in that are involved with a vacant house. And I'm just, I mean, you were doing the right thing for your family, and I'm just sorry that you guys had to go through that. Um,
Yeah, it sucked. And we did file a police report, for the things that were stolen out of the garage. And we actually tracked tracked it down through
yeah,
Facebook Marketplace, found it online, reported it, but they never followed up on it. So there's just it was all
yeah,
gone. We were
that was
out with
exasperating
the
to watch.
atoms and the money.
Yeah,
We also had an issue where I don't remember if it was the lender or the potential buyer, but somebody had put
yeah, they had changed the
up,
locks.
they
They had
changed
changed
the
the locks. Yeah,
locks. So we weren't even,
it was the lender. It was the
we
lender.
couldn't
Yeah.
even get into the house, and we hadn't closed, it was still owned by us. And
Yeah, when they thought that, and it was an incorrect assumption. They thought you, I mean, you were still paying utilities on it, right? I mean, it's not like, so it was an incorrect assumption on their part. Um, and so they went and changed the locks on you, and that created some drama even for the real estate agent, right? Because
It did.
someone's got to get in here, and we got it. Someone's got to tell us how to get in, and so.
rescued us.
I think we found a way to do that. Robert, I think you actually had the you had some hardware that enabled you to do that. Is that
Well, well, I think we determined that the back door had not been rekeyed, as I
okay? Is that how
recall.
that worked out?
We were
Okay.
able to get back in because we've been holding that asset company hired by the lender. We've been telling them, no, you don't need to come by. The property is still
And they
occupied.
did it anyway.
And they had told us they wouldn't do it. And then one day they showed up and changed the locks, and but we were able to get in and still have access. But we thought at one point, I think we thought the buyer was doing that, and it wasn't. So there's just a lot of tricky things that come up when you're trying to
It's very, yeah,
the marketing of the property and getting it out to all the buying agents that are out there. And in many cases, I just have investors calling me directly, get a ton of emails with these lowball offers that come in. So I had to go through a lot of this to find the one true real buyer, which we found. And we had a responsible buyer agent that I think she
yeah,
was doing a good job keeping her client
yeah,
updated and such during that process as well.
for
And
sure.
and then we got to cross the hurdles with the asset manager who wants to come out and lock the house down and keep you from getting in, and tell them no, it's still occupied, it's still handled by the owner. You don't need to come in and do it. And they said they wouldn't, and then they did anyways. And
Yeah,
there's there's a lot of stuff to kind of work through in that
there's a
process.
lot of stuff to work through. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in the end, I think it had a happy ending. I mean, I think you were satisfied with the next place that you moved into, Bobby. Um,
Yeah.
and the net result of this was a significant amount of debt forgiveness. So the in a normal situation, what a lender would do is they'd say, "You owe us this much. You sold for this much. Here's our palm. Please put a check in our palm." And the benefit to you and your family was that they were able to move past that and they were able to settle. So that was a great benefit. And I was just very glad that they were finally able to cooperate with that. Um,
Yeah, I wish it hadn't taken them so long to get to that point.
yeah,
But at the same time, I know, the house we're in now, it's the perfect house for us long term. Um, I don't foresee any problems with us in here. Shh, shh. And no, sorry, my dog. And
I've never met your dogs. Robert has
you
had
know,
that opportunity.
and our landlord is, we're renting again, and our landlord is happy to, have us here for as long as we want to stay right now, and I'm good with that. I don't ever want the drama of being a homeowner again.
So
After what we went through. But
yeah, because it gets to be someone else's problem now, right?
it if the timeline hadn't been what it was, we wouldn't have found this place because this place wasn't ready. When
Yeah,
we were first looking to short sale, this place wasn't ready. So it all happened in the time it needed to happen. Uh,
yeah,
I didn't really like that, our house was, thought to be abandoned for, 4 months, even though we were in and out every week.
yeah.
But I mean, I understand we weren't there on a daily basis
Right.
and
And you had
in and
neighbors who
out.
were kind of helping
Yeah.
with the misperceptions, right? You had some
Yeah.
neighbors who felt like they needed to say something, right?
Yeah. The guy next.
So, yeah. So, one thing I want to ask about is so it's important when you're in a situation. So, when someone is facing a situation like this, it's not uncommon that there's been a change in their credit. And so, some landlords will be less willing to take on this tenant who has had some recent issues with making payments. How did you navigate that, Bobby?
We actually got lucky,
Uh-huh.
and I found the realtor I was working with. She had previously worked with um the landlord and her realtor on another property that she was selling. And so she kind of intervened for us and, said, look, this is what's been going on. And we thought we had this sure thing. And the guy pulled, you know, we were, ready to send over the fees. And the guy was just like, nope, hold up. I'm going to rent it to somebody else at the last minute. And so she really, spoke up on our behalf
Oh,
and
that's
I
great.
think just convinced her to give us a shot.
Wow, that's awesome. That really shows that
And
having a relationship with the right real estate agent can make a big difference.
yeah, and it was actually kind of funny because we had driven down this street and seen this house and I was like, oh, that's a cute little house. And when I looked it up, it was like, oh, that's out of my price range. I can't afford that. And just a few days later, when, the realtor was looking, she was checking every morning, for new stuff that had popped up. And she saw the other realtor's name. And so she went to check it out because, she recognized it.
Hmm.
And it was this house and they had just lowered the rent.
Oh, wow.
And now it was in my budget.
Wow, timing is everything.
I mean, it was a
Someone's
god.
looking out for you, Bobby.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and
That's
it is.
awesome.
It's a perfect little house.
Well, that's awesome. Did you find that did you have to do any extra deposit when you went down into that house?
No, we did
That's
um
great.
the regular security deposit,
Yeah,
it's equal to the first month's rent. And then of course we had pet deposits because we have
sure.
animals, but yeah, she didn't require us to do anything extra. So I'm very thankful for it because I was really concerned about that. And finances being what they were, coming
Right.
up with,
It's
the funds
scary.
to move, you know, when you're dealing with all of that, that was difficult in itself.
It's a very common concern. Like, where am I going to live next? I've had people like literally they're a week away from closing and like, are we going to be homeless? It can be scary. It can definitely be
We,
scary.
yeah, we honestly went through that just, because they would say, oh, it's going to be in, it's up for auction in June. Oh, now it's been pushed back to August. And we just didn't know if there was going to come a day where we were just going to be living out of our car.
Wow. Well, Bobby, I count it as a great experience that I was able to participate in this with you, and Robert likewise. I'm grateful that you were able to help in this uh,
Mhm.
in this. So Robert is a seasoned real estate agent, and I was very grateful to be working with him through this whole process. Um,
I appreciate you reaching out. I was glad it all worked out. It, like I said, there were some hurdles, but we got through them all. That's how they are. You can either go over it or around it, but we're getting through that hurdle one way or another to get to that closing table so we can help Bobby get that home and that mortgage and that debt out of her life. And so it worked out. So that was the key thing. Ha on the day of closing, when you signed those docs, how did it feel, Bobby?
Oh, it was awesome. It was just the stress. I mean, literally just the weight, the pressure, all that stress was just gone the moment we walked out of that building.
Uh, we met at the title company. That's another piece to it, right? It's the title company. And Southland Title was the company we worked with, and they helped us along the way, putting out every time we asked for we need a new closing statement with this revision, they typically would get it to us that same day and really helped us work with your short sale lender
yeah,
to get us through that process. So they were kind of the behind the scenes, and we kept having to make adjustments based on taxes because every day we don't close, there's more daily taxes that they
yes,
put on top of you in that process. And so we had to kind of pre-budget and guesstimate a future date so that if you can close sooner, but when you go past that date you've been promoting to everybody and you miss it, none of the numbers work anymore.
yeah. And so someone else will have to pay for it, and that would have been
Oh,
that would have been one more headache we didn't need.
yeah.
You
So
know,
we
one of the things that I really appreciated about Robert in this process is so there were a couple times when it was like crisis mode, like not just once.
Yeah.
There were a couple of crisis modes, and Robert was like, okay, he's like, he's very nonchalant and he's very, I mean, he recognizes the issue for what it is. He doesn't downplay it, but he has, how would you say it, the maturity, like, okay, this is what we're going to do, and we we got it taken care of.
I felt like Robert stayed calm and that kept me calm
Yeah,
because I
yeah,
knew, if yes, it's an urgent, it's important, but he's not freaking out. So if he's not freaking out, then I don't need to freak out. And that really helped. That was a big,
yeah.
benefit.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I know we had some emotional time when the items went missing, and we all immediately thought
The
we thought
worst.
we kind of went to the wrong place thinking it was the buyer. It turned out it was we determined it was the asset manager's contractor
Yeah,
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 who locked up the house on us, decided to take some things out of the house.
exactly.
So that's one thing to just for other people who are going through this process to keep in mind. If you got something valuable, you really got to get it out of there because we're not the only ones accessing the property. There's sometimes some other people are going in there that we don't even know about. And the lender sent out a company, and that person who did the locking of the house was, I think, who we finally determined had decided to help themselves to
Yeah. So it
some
was.
yeah,
equipment of yours, and it was shocking to see that happen.
yeah,
But anyways, it's a good lesson to learn, I'm sure.
yeah.
Could have been worse. So
Yeah.
Well, thank you both for being a part of this discussion. I don't know if I mentioned at the beginning. So I met Robert in person before, but I've never had the opportunity to meet Bobby in person. So this call was actually my opportunity to see Bobby for the first time. And so I had talked to her many times as we were negotiating with the lender on her behalf. But now I can actually put the face with the voice, and I'm glad we could do that.
I am too. And again, I am just so thankful for both of y'all because there is no way I could have done this on my own. And without the two of you working together, I honestly don't think we would have been successful in getting out of that house.
Well, thank you, Bobby. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, Bobby, thank you, especially for because I know this is a sensitive topic, but what we're hoping is that other people who have heard your story will realize, it may seem really stressful now, but it can work out. It can work out, and
Okay.
life
There's
goes on. It may take different twists and turns than we expected, but life is good and it goes on. So
he is to not give up.
don't give up. All right. Thanks to both of you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time, and I hope all of us can stay in touch.